Douglas Cooling and Heating, serving the Birmingham area for 38 years. 988-3706. That's Douglas.
This is the Weather Xtreme video for Sunday, November the 6th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters, and what a gorgeous day we had yesterday, and what a game that was last night. Well, let's take a look at our Skycam imagery this morning, and there's a look at Tuscaloosa. And you can see we do have a mixture of sun and clouds today as the sun is rising a little earlier because of the fallback condition. We're back on standard time, and those cirrus clouds are going to be with our sky during the day off and on. There's a look at some color from Cheehaw this morning as we are seeing things a little differently since we're getting up a little bit earlier this morning based on the standard time change. And there's a look at Fayette, and once again you can see the cirrus clouds in the sky. We're still under a high pressure system over the mid-Atlantic states. It is nosing across and underneath the Appalachians, around the southern end of the Appalachians, giving us a bit of a wedge pattern. Fortunately, not picking up much on eastern moisture, so moisture out of the Atlantic. So we're doing pretty good this morning with a fairly clear sky, other than those cirrus clouds that you can see on the water vapor imagery coming across the Mississippi River and across the state of Mississippi. Big action for the U.S. right now is out over the western states where we have a big trough. And that trough will be coming out, and that will bring us some rain chances on Wednesday. But in the meantime, it's warming up across the central part of the United States, as you can see from all these yellow values. Here it is about 6 a.m., and there are values up in the 50s all the way up into Missouri and southern Iowa, so very mild. We're pretty mild, although fairly a little more uniform this morning than we were yesterday, although still a pretty good range from 37 at Gadsden to about 46 at Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. But for most people, we're in the mid-40s. Rain chances are going to be pretty good on Wednesday, it looks like, especially in the afternoon and early evening hours, but looks like the rainfall amounts will be somewhat light as the system pulls off to the north pretty rapidly. Storm Prediction Center is outlooking for day 2 a slight risk from Oklahoma down into south central Texas. The day 3 one, the graphic wasn't working, but that pulls a little closer, but stays away from our area. And the tropics remain fairly quiet still, despite the fact that we do have a fairly broad area of low pressure to the southwest of Bermuda, but no signs that that's going to develop into anything. The 06Z GFS model run this morning, and there is a look at the surface map for today, and the high off the mid-Atlantic states still nosing across the southeastern U.S. That high more or less stays with us, keeping things pretty dry for us into Monday. Tuesday, we're going to see things begin to change as the trough comes out of the western United States, and as it does, it's going to drag a front. So on Tuesday, it looks like the front will be to the west of the Mississippi River, but by Wednesday, that trough is pulling out the primary energy, pulling out initially across the central Great Lakes. But notice that we do have another little piece of energy near the Four Corners area, as well as another piece of energy up in north central Canada. And those will congeal, but that brings the front down into our area on Wednesday. Those different troughs congeal, and they help to dig the trough in a little bit stronger on Thursday, which means that we will see the front move on through, but in the meantime, that's also going to bring, you see that 540 line coming down into southern Kentucky. Not quite as far south as what it was shown yesterday, but the ridge begins to build back in, so we don't stay under that really long, but it means we'll have at least a couple of fairly chilly days with 30s for lows, and probably for Thursday and Friday, a little tough to get out of the 50s. By Saturday, however, we're coming back under the ridge, and that's helping to keep those little short waves off to our northwest and keeping us pretty much dry. And then by Sunday, a week from today, you see that this is the 13th of November. You see that we're under a southwesterly flow, so we should be warming back up. I think by next Sunday, we'll probably be back up to highs in the lower 70s. However, that also means that we might be tapping into some southern moisture, maybe more in the form of clouds than rain, but the GFS certainly suggesting that we might have some shower possibilities. These would be very widely scattered, but again, that's verging on voodoo country. Out into voodoo country by the 16th, we see a fairly strong shortwave move through the flow that would give us at least a pretty good shot at some rain. We see that by the 19th, we're under pretty much a ridge again, as most of the traveling weather systems are moved to our north. And then at the very end of the period, we can see that we're under fairly zonal flow with maybe a light tap to the southwest, but not much. So it looks like, for the general pattern anyway, out into Voodoo country, we're going to stay fairly mild, at least through the beginning of the week of Thanksgiving. So we'll see if that happens, but that's at least the general trend. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Weather Xtreme video. I expect James Spann to be back at the helm once again first thing tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful Sunday, and Godspeed.
Being Alabama's news leader means digging deeper to get you the facts, working harder so you have all sides of the story, and not being afraid to tell the truth. Every day you award us by making ABC 3340 Alabama's most watched news. And now the Associated Press has named us Alabama's most outstanding news operation. That's 9 times since 1996, more than all other stations combined. And that's 9 more reasons you should trust the news leader. ABC 3340.